yes so much for the people who do that. And then I guess you can comment down below maybe the ranking you would give your own team, maybe a ranking you'd give a specific team, maybe rank the Lakers down in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10. That could be pretty fun. With that being said, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And I think that's everything. So I'm really excited. It's gonna be a lot of talking. So let us get started. Actually, you know what? I think in tonight's video we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. We're gonna be going in reverse order. So instead of going in alphabetical order, you know, Atlanta Hawks first, like in every single video, let's go reverse. Let's switch it a little bit. Let's do reverse. So first off, we're starting out with the Washington Wizards. Kind of cool. So for the Washington Wizards, on a scale of 1 to 10, and again, I'm basing these off of future, how they play now, players on their team, cap space, maybe if I had to think about it, even, you know, if they're a team that's in a good area, can they sign free agents, they're drafting, how good are they drafting, how good are they developing players. I'm going to try to take it all into consideration. And again, I like to think I know a lot about basketball, or at least I know somewhat about basketball. I don't know everything. So maybe, again, if your favorite team and you watch them non-stop, let me know if you would rank your own favorite team. If there's a ranking that you would defer with, comment it down below. I think it would be kind of nice to hear about that. So, anyways, the Washington Wizards on a scale from 1 to 10, I think I would give them maybe like a 5 out of 10 as of right now. Right now, Washington is the 12th seed in the NBA East, 35-46, with only, I think, 1 game left in the NBA season. I think the NBA season ends this Sunday, which is crazy to think about. The playoffs are just right around the corner. And yes, I will be doing a playoff video, and I'm really excited about that. So make sure you guys also, you know, like the video or whatever if you're excited about that video. But Washington Wizards, I'd give them like a 6 out of 10. I think if definitely now, next season, there's kind of like a buzz or maybe some excitement if you're a Wizards fan now that you have Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma had a whole season of just basically him taking the team over. Maybe he can sort of carry that going into next season if they can keep all their guys together, especially with the development of Denny. This team could maybe be a playing team next year, maybe even be a sleeper 8th seed. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens to Bradley Beal. This team could be a playoff team next season, so I'll give them a 6 for now. Next team is the Utah Jazz. Oh my god. That's tough, actually. Utah is 5th right now in the NBA West at 48-33, again with 1 game left in the NBA season, I think. Or maybe they have 2. I don't remember. Some teams have 1, some teams have 2, so that's why I kind of forget. But man, they're definitely not a 6. They're definitely better in a better position than Washington, but they're on a cliffhanger, I'll say. This postseason is going to be so important about what happens to Utah. I'm going to give them a 7.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty good. I think they're right there, sort of at that sort of like title contention if they are, you know, playing at their best and everything's going well, which everything's not going well, and they are sort of sliding and slipping around, sort of tripping their way into the postseason. I think the roster they have, how Utah usually is, I think it's a good place for them, but all the wheels just aren't spinning together. It's not very cohesive there right now, so I'll give them a 7.5 for right now. Maybe it picks up in the playoffs, I don't know, but they're definitely on thin ice right now. Definitely have to see, but I think 7.5, that's pretty fair. Oh god, the Toronto Raptors. Wow, what a team. I really thought the Raptors were going to be tanking this season. I thought they were going to try to get a new draft pick since they just had a great draft pick with Scotty Barnes. I thought they got a good hit with him. I never would have guessed this ever, and that's not me even like underrating the Raptors. I don't think really a lot of people saw this coming. I think they're good. I think they're way ahead of schedule, obviously, in their plays that they have are really great, but you know, when thinking about title contention and all these other things, I don't know. I would probably rate them out of 10. If Utah's a 7.5-ish area, I kind of want to give them the same, maybe a 7, 7.5. I think they're in a good spot right now. I mean, are they gonna lose in the first round? Yeah, probably, because they're gonna play like the Sixers or the Bucks, which are, you know, true title contenders. But can they win some games? Can it be a fun 6-game series? And moving forward with Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr., the players that they have, is that an amazing sort of setup they have? Yes. Toronto always does well with sort of, you know, building teams. So I think, yeah, I think right now where they are, and Yes, I would. I don't think it's DeJounte. No offense. I love DeJounte. I don't think he's sort of the output scorer that can really do that, at least in my own opinion. I think he's a great piece. I think he'd be maybe your 2 or your 3, but as a number 1 option, I don't know. Oh god, the Sacramento Kings. This is kind of tough to do, actually. So the Kings this season finished 29, well, are going to finish probably 29-52, because I think they're going to get another loss or 2 before the end of the season. Again, I don't know how many games they have left, probably 1 or 2, but probably going to lose those games. I'll probably rate the Kings. Man, I do not believe in the Kings organization. I don't believe all that much in De'Aaron Fox, if I'm being completely honest. He's kind of fallen off on my sort of favorite player radar for quite some time now. But I love DeMontis. I'll probably give him like a 4.5, 5. Sort of like a tier below the Spurs and the Wizards. I feel like they have great players. They have 2 all-star potential players. I love the way Davion Mitchell plays. I just don't know why. I don't know how it's so hard for this team to do something. I don't know what's going on with how they develop players, keep talent, keep players happy, keep players motivated. I don't know. It seems like it's tough to do that over there in the Kings, so it's kind of sad to see. Although they have the talent, everything else is against them, so that's why it's kind of hard to rank this team. I'll probably give them, like a 4.5-ish area. Oh god. And if we want to talk about a tough team to rank, we have Portland up next. What we see right now isn't Portland. Portland, I think, has won 2 games of their last, 20-something games. I'm not kidding. They may have only won a handful of games in the past since All-Star break, which is insane to think about. But again, that's not the Blazer team we're going to be seeing moving forward. They're going to have Dame and a high draft pick, probably a trade piece, a lot of retention in their players. Health is going to be there, and they're going to stop resting players. I think taking that into consideration, I'll probably give them a 7. I think they're not sort of up there with Utah. I don't think they are, and I don't think they're up there with the Raptors. As of right now, they might be up there with the Raptors, maybe. I just have to see the team. Then I could give them a proper rating, but right now, with the way we saw, the young squad they have now with Josh Hart, Anthony Simons, Nasir Little, Trenton Wofford, I think that's a good telltale of how this team will be next season, because when trying to tank, these players were too good to put on the court while trying to tank. I think that's a good telltale for the role players that are going to be on board the next season. I like that a lot. I'll give them a 7 for now. Still need to see how Dame plays after his surgery. It's going to be kind of tough, but it could even be higher than that. Who knows? They could be an 8 by the end of the year. I don't know. Ooh, the Phoenix Suns. Oh my god, the Phoenix Suns. Do I give them a 10? Are they a 10 out of 10? I mean, there should be one team in the NBA that's a 10 out of 10, right? I feel like that might be only fair. And it would probably be them, because they are the number 1 team, and they have just been so dominant this entire season. If anything, I'll give them a 9.5, maybe, just because of Chris Paul's health. That's the only thing I'm really nervous about. His age as well. Looking forward, they really only have this year and maybe next season to be absolutely elite without Chris Paul, diminishing a whole lot. So for the future, it doesn't look so great for them. But as for a right now team, I'll give them a 9.5. The future is still really bright, obviously, with Devin Booker and Ayton and Cam Johnson, and they still have a lot of youth on there. But their main important piece, Chris Paul, until he shows his age, which he does a lot with injury, it's kind of scary to think about the future for this team. But as of right now, they're an amazing squad. Ooh, the Philadelphia 76ers, again, another very interesting team to think about, because again, when thinking about Philly, you think title. I think they're at least an 8. I don't think you can go lower than 8 out of 10. The team is amazing. MVP candidate with Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey's played amazing this entire season. Great defense with Matisse Thybulle. Tobias Harris can step up to the plate every once in a while, which is great. James Harden is the X factor, though. James Harden can make this team either, again, an 8 out of 10 when he's playing very bad, or, maybe even a 9 out of 10 up there with sort of the Phoenix Suns sort of area where it's going to take a perfect game to try to stop these guys. So I feel like 8 is a good base for this team, and I think I'm going to leave him there because, James Harden can go for, 5 for 16 from the floor, have 7 turnovers, have a very bad game, and it really hurts the said the Kings were a 4. I'd probably give them the Magic like a 5 out of 10. I feel like this season is going to be a needle pusher for them. I feel like they're finally going to sort of see some type of improvement. I think the guards are going to get better. I feel like they're going to make some trades. I feel like their draft pick, if it is top 3 with Chet Holmgren, Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., whoever they get in the draft is going to be a needle pusher for this team on where they are in the sort of NBA. And I feel like this season will be a turning point for the Magic. Mark my words. I don't think they're going to be like a playing team or anything like that, but I feel like we'll finally see the motions of how this team's going to be playing for the next handful of years. And I'm very excited to see that. So I'll give them a 5 out of 10 for now. They're still a bad team, but I feel like they're getting there for sure. We have the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll probably give them like a 5.5, 6. Again, that's another team where I have to see at the start of the year. I'll maybe do a video like this again where I rank them, because I said this before. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder has the sort of recipe to be the next sort of Memphis Grizzlies, Cleveland Cavalier type of squad where they can just come into the NBA next season, get a nice draft pick, get a couple free agents, have a lot of player retention, and they could come out, up there in the playoff race. I think this upcoming season, maybe. I'll knock on wood not to try and jinx these guys, but I love SGA. I love the hard muscle this team plays. This team plays a nice, fast-paced, heavy defensive-minded scheme as well, which is amazing. I like how they play, but again, still not a lot of talent, which is the thing that really pushes them back down in the ranking. But if this offseason they can get that, that's going to be a scary team. The New York Knicks. Okay, the Knicks. I'll probably give them like a 6 out of 10. I really like RJ, and I think this season RJ Barrett really showed himself to be, the player that we're seeing to be, the ball dominant guy, the guy who can put up, 22 shots and not blink an eye at it. Someone who can be, the guy for this team at one point in time, and I feel like that's really important. That's really the only bright side of the season this year, because Julius Randle really digressed. Tom Thibodeau looks incompetent sometimes when coaching. A lot of young guys got no playing time this season, even though it was a wash of a season, like Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish, Quentin Grimes. Even they quickly couldn't find the court a lot of times. It's crazy what happened to them this season, and I hope this next season they can finally say, hey, let's give, the reins to the young guys and just see what happens. I hope that does happen. I'll give them a 6 out of 10 for now. Next season, could they make the playoffs? Absolutely yes, but it's going to take some retooling here and there, I think. And up next, we have the Pelicans. Yikes. Pelicans. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to give the Pelicans a 6.5. I feel like they're almost there. I just need to see Zion play. If Zion plays and he plays like he did the year prior and shoots like 60%, averaging nearly 25 points per game, plus you have CJ, plus Brandon Ingram playing out of his mind like he is right now, they're going to have a good pick this year because they have the Lakers pick this year. So it's going to be a top 10 pick. I think they're in a really good spot right now. Maybe you add in some sort of free agent. They're going to be good in years to come. But even next season, to think about the relative, soon, I think they are in a good spot. So if Zion plays well, this team could be, a 7, 7.5. I really need to see, because I really love the addition of CJ. CJ being sort of the ball dominant, almost point guard for this team. I love that position for them a lot. I love that when he did that for Portland. I think a 6.5 is fine for right now. I just need to see how the rest of the team sort of comes together, I guess you could say. I'm kind of excited to see what happens with this team, too. The Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're a solid 7. I think they finally have found their place in the NBA. I feel like they are, when fully healthy, a playoff contending team, and it showed this year. Now again, Portland had a crappy season. The Lakers had a crappy season. There are a lot of sort of the West sort of got diluted a lot for what happened this season. So next season, could they be out? Yes, they could. But for this season, I think a 7 out of 10 is fine. But also, again, this season, the future, the organization, I think they're in a lot better of a place than they ever have been, probably since Jimmy Butler has left, which is a good thing to think about. So 7 out of 10, I think is pretty fair. Milwaukee Bucks. Yikes. Giannis is still in his prime. And like a Phoenix Suns, like a 9.5. The only thing you can really worry about the Bucks is the role players and the surroundings around Giannis. We've already seen some sort of, health issues this year with some of the older players like Brook Lopez, even Drew Holiday missed a lot of games. Chris Middleton is getting up there in age. The supporting cast around Giannis isn't really in the same sort of age range. So sooner rather than later, they're going to have to find some sort of youth to sort of like replace some of these guys with, and hopefully they find it in the next year or two. But I think they're okay for right now. Obviously, they could probably win the title this year, but I think a 9.5 is good. But you don't want to look too forward with this team because that's where it gets kind of scary to think about. But right now, maybe the best playing team in the NBA right now, I have no idea. The Miami Heat right now, they are the number 1 seed in the NBA East this year, which, by the way, that doesn't really mean a whole lot anymore because I think the 4th place is like only like a game or 2 back of number 1, which what a finish this end of the season it was for the Eastern Conference sort of standings. That was really cool. It looks like the Miami Heat have it unlocked though, which is nice. And yeah, they did that into some sort of consideration, I guess, but I think I'll give them an 8. I feel like they're kind of there with like Philly where, if everyone's playing to a par, absolutely amazing, they could beat any team in the NBA, I feel. If something's off with this team, they can lose to anybody, so that's where it's really scary. Do I think they're a true number 1 seed like the Phoenix Suns are? No, I don't. So, I think they're good. They're in a good spot. They still have a dynamic duo in Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo to look forward to for the next 8 years in the NBA, so they're fine when looking forward. So yeah, I think an 8 is good. Philly's definitely more of like an 8.5. I would say I'd still rank them above them, but Miami's still in a good spot. Memphis Grizzlies. Oh man. Now this is a team where you can look at the right now, and you can also look at the future of this team, and it's very bright. I mean, Memphis, they look like they could win the title this year. It's that crazy. They've beaten teams without John Morant and have done it very easily and well, which is crazy. So with John Morant, man, they could have some really crazy success this playoff run. But I'll still give them maybe an 8.5, an 8.5. I do still feel like they are a piece away. They still need a true Batman. I feel like Batman. They still need a true Robin. If you don't know that saying, they need a B option. They need a 2 option. Sure, Desmond Bane is playing amazing, and I think Jaren Jackson Jr. has played amazing on the defensive end. Those guys are extremely, extremely key to the success of this franchise. But I still think they're a piece away in a 7-game series against, veteran teams who have been in the finals multiple times, who have won championships. Can you really trust this team? That's where it gets kind of scary. But also the future of this team, insanely bright. It does get kind of scary when you think about contracts and having to, try to keep everyone here, which, again, these are all young guys. Probably a lot of them are on rookie contracts, 2-year deals. These guys are going to want to get paid the better their team is, and that's where it gets kind of scary. Do they pick and choose who stays, who leaves? Ooh, kind of scary, but I think it's fine for right now. Again, 8.5, 9. Oh god, okay, we have the LA Lakers now. The LA Lakers on a scale of 1 to 10, a 1, no. I'll give them like a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Like again, when LeBron and AD are healthy, that's amazing. But the Russ contract is gonna hold his team back so bad. That Russ contract, when he does accept this player option, that's like $50 million off the books right off the rip. You can only really sign veteran minimum guys, which right now, not a lot of veterans really want to play in LA right now, I'll tell you that. So, you don't really know the sort of where LeBron's going to be in the next 2 years because he hasn't really said he was going to re-sign with them. AD, don't know the future of them. They could trade him or not. They could even get new ownership sometime relatively soon. It's a mess. I'll give them like a 4, 4.5 out of 10. It's just not looking good right now. You have the LA Clippers, and definitely a complete sort of 180. You know what, when I think about the LA Clippers, I kind of want to think about them at full strength. And when you think about the Clippers at full strength with Reggie, Norman Powell, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Zubac, like that starting 5, that's an insane starting 5. Like that is super duper talented. just like hoopla, just see what can happen. But next season, with Kawhi back and maybe even some other moves, full healthy, this team's going to be very fun to watch. Indiana Pacers are up next on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll probably give them like a 5. Like a 5. The only really, actually, I might give them a 4.5. The only thing they really did this season was get Tyrese Halliburton, and that's a good start to sort of this rebuild, restart, retooling that they're doing with their squad. What they do with Miles Turner, what they do with Malcolm Brogdon, if they can get a good draft pick this year, who do they draft? Who do they sort of team up this player that they just got with Tyrese Halliburton? What the direction's going to be? It's just a big question mark still on this team, and they still didn't really do a whole lot. I thought they were going to do a lot more. I thought they're going to trade a lot more. Didn't really do a whole lot, and they still looked pretty bad. Tyrese Halliburton, though, only bright spot for this team and for the future. He is just the future right now, which I don't know if that's the best future, if it's just Tyrese Halliburton. So I'll give them like a 4 out of 10. Just really need to see what happens with them, but right now they're in an okay spot, I guess. Houston Rockets are up next. I'll give them like a 5.5. Maybe. That's kind of hard to think about. They could be better, they could be worse. It probably is your own opinion. I know some people who are extremely high on the Houston Rockets. They would probably give them like an 8 out of 10 if they could, but Jalen Green, good piece. Christian Wood could even stay on the team. Again, they should have done more in the trade market. They should have done more when buying players out. They should have got more to acquire draft picks. They should have done more, I feel like, and they didn't. So that's the hesitation that they showed this season was really sort of lackluster. The Golden State Warriors are up next. 1 to 10. I'll give them, again, they're in the sort of same upper echelon of the NBA, so like I don't think you can really say anything lower than an 8. And again, when this team's playing, full, heated hot streaks, they are maybe the best team in the NBA. I don't know, when Steph and Clay are on their best, it's hard to really to put anyone above this team. But as the season's ending, as sort of the roller coaster of the season got done and over with, seeing how this team sort of fizzled out, I think an 8 is a good place mark for them. But I'm excited about the playoff run they're going to go on, and I still think they can win the title. I still think they have a great future with Kuminga and Wiseman, Jordan Poole as well. They have a great direction and can still win now. I really like that. And obviously the Warriors are a crazy ran organization, one of the best probably in all sports right now. So 8.5 is probably like good. 8.5 is a good spot for them. Oh man, the Detroit Pistons. Again, with the Pistons, if they can get like Chet Holmgren, a big time center who you can sort of have that dynamic duo with your guard and your big, then you have Sadiq Bey having a crazy season, and then whatever trade you can get out of Jeremy Grant, whether it is a Portland Trailblazer top 10 pick or some sort of other young asset, this team could look really good next season, and again could be a sneaky play-in team for sure. So honestly, I think I want to give them like a 6 out of 10. Is that too high? Maybe 5.5, 5 to 6. I feel like is a good spot for them, because I do think they're in a better spot than a lot of other teams, and they do have a lot of good young talent and can only get better with their young talent. But again, it's the Detroit Pistons, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So I think that's a quality spot for them for their sort of like window right now in their future. The Denver Nuggets. Oh man, fully healthy. I cannot wait to see what Denver can be fully healthy, and I feel like they could probably win a title when fully healthy, because of how Jokic is playing right now and how their role players are playing. Oh man, I wish we could have saw Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. play this season for sure. Is it bad? I want to give them like an 8. I think an 8 is good. I don't think they're 8.5. I think 8.5 is like for those other teams, like again the Sixers, who just have a little bit more star power. Same thing with like the Warriors, a little bit more star power. And we haven't seen Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. play in over a year, so I think I gotta pump the brakes a little bit. I'll say I think 7.5, 8. Next season, if they can still again retain a lot of players, maybe even get a little bit more deeper in their team, sort of get some more youth, some more activity in their roster. I feel like that could be a little bit of fun to see. But Jokic alone, with the thought of getting Michael Porter organization. So, yeah, I feel like, again, at 8, 7.5-ish is a good spot. And again, if I could just see them play, I'd probably put them up higher on my list, honestly, even for the ratings. The Dallas Mavericks. Man, we have Luka Doncic and a bunch of role players. Again, next season, this team will hopefully look better. I'm going to really put it on, the owners, the GMs of this team, to really build a team around Luka Doncic, because, man, this guy is literally putting up 40-point triple-doubles just to win basketball games. Like, this guy needs something, man. I'll probably give them like a 7.5. So, yeah, I'll probably give Denver like an 8, 7.5. And I'll probably give, Dallas sort of like in that same range, because they are also a one-star team with a lot of good sort of compliments that you can say. But Dallas, man, if they even had any type of co-star for Luka Doncic, the team is probably like a top 2 in the West, maybe top 3 in the West. So that's why I'm really excited about maybe what could happen in the future of this team. So that's why I might be ranking them kind of high-ish. But Luka alone is amazing. Dallas has in the past has had really good opportunities to sign free agents. So I feel like the future of this team is pretty bright nonetheless. So I feel like they have the opportunity to be great, but will they? That's the big question mark. So that's why I'm kind of iffy on my ranking. But Cleveland Cavaliers, what a sad ending to the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Very sad. Dropping from like what? I think they're at number 1 in the East for a little bit there. Now all the way down, I think at 8, which is crazy to think about. For Cleveland, I'm gonna give them 7 out of 10. I'm trying to think. They have so much youth on that team with Garland and Sexton and Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro. Like, that team is still like years away from being true potential-wise. And this season they only got really down in the dumps because of injury. And when thinking of this team fully healthy and what they could even acquire in the future is terrifying to think about. So you could probably rank them higher because, again, thinking about the future, so you could probably maybe even put them up that 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10 if you really want to think about it. But I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit. 7 out of 10. I feel like that's solid. I think like they're gonna be in the future from now an always playoff seeded team. It just sort of matters on what they do with sort of these players. Yikes, the Chicago Bulls. Oh my goodness. Talk about a team that had a lot of up and downs. I'll give them like a 7 out of 10 as well. I feel like they're sort of maybe in the same boat as the Cleveland Cavaliers, where they had a great start and a very, very, very underwhelming finish to the season. But again, a lot of growth with this team is still available with DeMar and Zach and Alonzo and Caruso and Kobe White and Vucevic, all these guys. This was their first season together, and they had so much success. And I feel like it'll only get better with more sort of health, contribution, more playing time together. I feel like this team is still in its very young form, and I feel like it can only get better from here. So don't be scared, Bulls fans. It was the first season, and it was pretty successful, so just need to cross your fingers on health, and I feel like maybe getting a little bit more help here and there, but you don't need a lot. I feel like they're still going to be very good next season. Charlotte, I'll probably say if that's why I kind of want to put him in an 8 out of 10, because I feel like 8 out of 10 is like a good sort of like set as like an NBA contending team for the next 2-3 years, and I feel like that's them for sure. So yeah, I feel like 8 out of 10 if you really want to be very, I guess, crucial. You can give them a 7.5, but I think 8 is good. Boston Celtics, I'll give them like a 7.5. I feel like they are gonna have a very good run in the postseason. I feel like they will. I think they play the Chicago Bulls right in the first round. They'll probably beat the Bulls, so they're a second round team. Could maybe even throw out a couple good blows to whoever they go up against in the playoffs. So they're playing on a high right now, which is the only thing I'm really scared about ranking this team, because this could just be, the best brand of basketball that Boston is putting on right now, and that's what I'm ranking them off of, which I really don't want to do. But they're still a good young team. Boston's a pretty well-run organization, somewhat. This team can only get better, I feel like, next season as well. So yeah, a 7.5. I feel like they can go pretty good, have a good run in the playoffs this year. And I mean, Tatum is still youthful, Brown's still youthful. Seeing what this team can do in the future, there's still some things to do. So pretty good ranking, I would say. We have the Atlanta Hawks, and yikes, also kind of tough to sort of rank because I have no idea what to do. They're like a 6.5 maybe. Trae Young makes them amazing, that's for sure, but that's really about it. Even other sort of their younger players like John Collins didn't have that great of a season. He had a pretty average season, I'll say that. He had a very John Collins season. And no one else on the team really had a lot of upside, and that's what I feel like they were very staggered this season. So I hope this next offseason they can maybe, again, trade free agency. They gotta change something up, because they can't just run this team back next season. I don't think that's really gonna work, so whatever they do, hopefully it works out. But yeah, I feel like they're sort of in that area where they have their guy, they have Trae Young, they just need to throw in a couple extra pieces in there and just see what happens. And I feel like in a long-term scheme, that's honestly not a bad thing, because you have Trae Young, and then he's a generational type of player where he's going to be an MVP candidate in the next couple years. Once again, KD, LeBron, all those guys are sort of out of it. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, make sure you rank 1 to 10 your favorite team, or maybe just some random NBA team out there. It could be a lot of fun. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I love you, 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 love you. And I'll see you again in my next video very, 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 very soon.